The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily represent those of this station or its management.
It's time now for Where You Live with Gene Sullivan, the show that deals with the news and events that affect you the most. Whether you rent or own, live in an HOA, single-family home, or an apartment building, Gene will tackle the issues right where you live. So, from the True North Painting Studios, here's the original man H.L. Resolve himself, who stands for Truth, Justice, and the Association Way. Here's Gene Sullivan.
Welcome and hello, everyone. You are listening to Where You Live. I am Gene Sullivan. I'm broadcasting from the True North Painting Studios. When you're looking for the right painting contractor, what do you look for? Isn't it someone who will respect you, your time, your property, and your budget? That's what you can expect from True North Painting. Find out more about this exceptional company by going online at truenorthpainting.com. That's trunorthpainting.com, or give them a call at 952-831-1433. I'm also brought to you by the great folks at Extreme Exteriors and American Family Insurance, the Kim Bennett Agency. I want to begin by saying hello to Chris Wyatt Puberty. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm good, Gene. How about yourself?
You know, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. You haven't gotten the flu or a cold this year, have you?
Actually, just last week. Just got over one.
Which one, the flu or cold?
Cold, fortunately.
A cold. People are dropping right and left at our office. So this week I went out to Walgreens to get a flu shot, and so I got one. And, of course, they ran out of the regular Band-Aid, so I had the little, my little kitty Band-Aid on my boo-boo, which was appropriately dressed.
It's adorable.
Oh, it really was. Yeah. But, folks, I'm sorry. I may have to hit that cough button a few times today just because I'm still feeling a little bit under the weather. But we've got a great show for you today. So let's begin without further ado and start with property management in the news. Property management in the news is brought to you by Home Furniture and Abbey Floor Coverings. Their showrooms are staffed with professionals who will help you choose what you need to fit both your lifestyle and budget. Whatever you need, chances are they'll have what you're looking for. If you wish to avail yourself of special pricing you won't find anywhere else, all Where You Live listeners can call Customer Service Coordinator Lori Matson at 952-224-2663. That number again, 952-224-2663. This first story that we're going to talk about this morning here really caught my eye. In the area of Houston, Texas, there are some property owners who have a different standard for the renters living there. And what it is a new standard saying that renters are now forced to pull up their pants if they expect to be able to lease an apartment and to be able to live in these fine communities. No more will you allow these people to have the pants hanging down a number of inches and just barely hanging on. And we have one of the owners of the property and who's also principal with the management company that's managing these properties, Steve Moore, who's with us this morning from Texas. Hello, Steve. Thanks for being on the show today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Now, Steve, you have how many apartments do you own and manage it's in the Houston area? Is that correct?
Yeah, in the Houston area, we have about 5,000 apartments that we own part of and manage.
Okay. Now, I really was surprised when I saw this in the news. Tell me a little bit about it. How did this come about where you got to thinking, you know what, one of the rules that we need to institute at our properties are for one thing, people need to pull their pants up.
Well, thank you for asking me. Villa Serena, by the way, is a new name that we've recently come up with for all our properties. We expanded a lot in Houston just about a year ago, and over to about 2/3 of what we own, we recently purchased. What we specialize in is buying other people's problems. So we get properties that are poorly managed and have high crime. And I actually, even though I'm an investor and don't need free rent, I actually moved into the worst, highest crime property that we recently bought, so I could find out what happens firsthand. I got my apartment robbed and my car broken into, so I started learning firsthand what we have to do to clean up a property.
Wow, that's something. So you decided that the best way to get that firsthand knowledge was to move in yourself and to experience what all of your customers and all of your renters were experiencing.
Well, it sounds kind of corny, but if I'm willing to rent it, I should be willing to live in it.
Oh, that's not corny at all. That sounds like a pretty good standard to me. Now, you began talking...
My friends insisted I get more life insurance, and I actually slept with a can of mace.
Oh, so...
Really, I slept with a can of mace, and also I had a can of carburetor cleaner in case the mace didn't work.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I would like to hear a little bit more here. Now, Steve, you started talking, you moved in, you started talking to a number of the renters, and they started sharing their concerns. And what were they telling you were some of the concerns that they experienced living there?
Well, we had two groups of people. As we started to clean up the place, we had the people that really complained when we put in the guard shack. We started not letting visitors just wander onto the property. But those were the people we didn't want anyway. So, yeah, we had about 20% of the people that were really upset, and they either moved out or we evicted them. And the people that are left, what I realized is, and this comes to the pull up your pants or stay off our property dress code. What we realized is we got the property cleaned up. It's safe. It's a safe place to live, but it's like a nice restaurant. If you got a great cook, you still have to have some curb appeal, or you can't get people in your restaurant. And curb appeal includes having our residents look and dress appropriately.
And you're
but to go to a dress code.
Yeah, you're so right. People want to have a sense of pride where they live. They want to be able to say.
They want to have confidence.
Yeah.
If you're walking around with how much confidence would you have in the food if the people in the restaurant had no shirts or shoes on?
You make a good point.
So just like they got to have confidence in that we have a safe place to live, it's not only got to be safe, but it's got to look and feel safe, and that means a dress code. And I'm really hesitant to tell people what to do. I'm more of a libertarian type person. But this is, after all, private property. There's gobs of other places they can choose to live, and if they don't like it, they're not being forced to pick us as a place to live.
Yeah, and so you're doing this. You're trying to cater to what you think a majority of the good folks that are there would want and would have for expectations. You're talking about just how people should be a good neighbor to one another.
Yeah, and it's surprising because after we instituted this, and as I said, I live there. So I walk around and I talk with people, and they kind of know who I am now. Although I try not to share that. And they said, we like it. I mean, I walked up to these guys who you'd think wouldn't like it, and they said, yes, we like the dress code. We want this place. So the remaining residents we have are very supportive of our strict policies, our guard check, and in particular, the pull up your pants part of this.
Okay. Now,
I couldn't find anybody on property who didn't like it.
Yeah. Now, tell me a little bit more, and for our listeners, specifically, what is this dress code? Pulling up your pants is only part of it.
Well, what it says is that what we don't allow are pajamas, sexually revealing clothing, bare chest, bare feet, sagging pants, underpants, showing badly tattered or ripped clothing, except, you can wear swimsuits at the swimming pool.
Yeah.
So...
No, you said you sent over before the show here a copy of your policies, and one of the things that I really like about it here is that you are saying what we're talking about is when you can be seen in the common areas. When a person's in their own home, in their own unit or apartment, they can dress any way they want to. But when you're out with other people, then this is the expectation and the dress code.
In my whole life, I feel strongly that whenever possible, I want my own personal freedom. I don't want people telling me what to do, and I don't like telling other people what to do.
Yeah.
So if they're in their apartment, have at it. Whatever they want is their own business.
Yeah. Now, the one thing that I like about the rules that you've stated here is that they're quantified. So many times when people start creating rules and regulations for renters or in a homeowner association, what they end up doing is they're very vague, but yours is quantified. And you said the standard for the clothing must meet standards acceptable for airline passengers. And so here you're saying, hey, we're not doing anything that's really out of the ordinary. When you go other places, there are standards, and here's the example to help people understand what that policy means. I tell you what, Steve, it looks like by looking at the clock here, we need to take a break. Can you stick around with me for one more segment?
Like, sir.
Okay, folks, we're talking to Steve Moore from Houston, Texas, and his message to would-be renters at his communities: pull up your pants or don't move in here. We'll talk about that and more of what's going on in the great state of Texas after these messages.